You don't remember that I could generate kryptonite radiation, Hiy shouts, his appendages reaching out glowing green with kryptonite grabbing a hold of the Man of Steel. Superman bellows in pain as they both begin to fall out of the sky. But you're probably wondering why Blue Beetle is fighting against Superman and where Santa is going to be teaming up with Batman. Well, we discovered last time that Batman trained under Santa Claus, because of course he did, and the history of Krampus and Santa. Now it's time to stop the monsters that Krampus is setting loose on this world and save Christmas. This is Comicstorian. I take comic books, turn them into audio dramas. This allows you to know what's going on in the world of comics and what to add to your collection. Today we're going to be covering Batman Silent Night issues 3 and 4, concluding this series. If you enjoy this type of content, support us directly by joining us at Patreon or heading on over to our Spotify. Now let's get into it. Hiy Park, London. Christmas Eve morning. People are running in fear as the Harpies have begun their attack, grabbing them and pulling them into the air. Above, the British military has been called in to help against the attack, but the Harpies are destroying their helicopters. The helicopter begins to spin out of control, but something is suddenly there. Hawkgirl knocks the monsters aside with her mace, ripping the canopy off, pulling the pilot to safety and flying them away. More of the creatures swerve to attack her, but they are stopped by Green Lantern's shields. "Don't worry, I'm here," Joe says, the Green Lantern from the far sector, using her constructs to grab the pilot and allow Hawkgirl to use her mace once more. She then drops the pilot to safety, creating a green sword as more of the monsters begin to swarm them. Does Batman always ask you to handle threats without saying what to expect? Joe asks Hawkgirl, pointing out that they could have come a little better prepared. But Wonder Woman suddenly swoops down into the monsters, knocking them aside. "Here's the plan! Break their formation and keep breaking it," she shouts. The trio of superwomen leap amongst the monsters, knocking them aside, but Wonder Woman realizes that she might be able to reason with them. She looks and finds the Harpy with the largest plumage. "She's the elder. Keep the others back so that I can question her," Wonder Woman says. She then flies at the monster, wrapping the lasso of truth around the Queen's neck. "The others follow you, Broodmother," Wonder Woman says, now able to understand and communicate with the Harpy Queen. "Why do you hunt here?" Wonder Woman says. "We were freed! We were sworn to attack the walkers below by Krampus," the Queen says, so Wonder Woman nods, explaining that they have been attacking them, so their task has been completed. "Call your flock to follow us," Wonder Woman says. The Queen agrees, and the trio lead the flock of Harpies away from the city. Elsewhere, the rest of the heroes have journeyed to find the hidden workshop of Kris Kringle. A portal opens up to reveal a tall elf who greets them. Superman looks on in shock and awe. "We were expecting Santa," he says with disappointment. The elf nods, leading them back through the portal, explaining that Claus once gave them a home in his secret valley, so they repay him back by using their fine craftsmanship for a portion of the year. "He has found another wild thing released by Krampus. That is why I am fetching you. Ages ago, he caught a sea serpent and put it in deep sleep beneath the ford," the elf explains, and the heroes step through the portal to find Kris Kringle astride Prancer, fighting against a giant serpent. "We should have called Aquaman!" Nightwing shouts in surprise. "It's by the shore. We don't have time to bug him every time something is in the water," Batgirl tells him, so Superman leaps into the fight, punching the serpent hard, knocking it away. "Hold on, Santa!" he shouts, and the serpent splashes back into the water as Superman turns to Santa in awe. "Hi, sir, he begins to say, and Santa smiles. "Kent, Rural Route 38, Smallville. You asked for a new coffee maker for Ma and Pa," he says with a twinkle in his eye. And Superman smiles. I can't believe you read my letter," he whispers. But he's interrupted by Blue Beetle, who shouts to him that the serpent is getting back up. The beast lunges forward, biting down on both Superman and Blue Beetle. "I thought I knocked you out!" Superman shouts as the two of them get trapped in its mouth. They then begin to try and escape, but Santa shouts for them. "I know you two can hear me. With the super ears and alien machine, you're in the perfect place to move the serpent without fighting back. Lift it out of the water and follow me," Santa shouts. Superman nods, flying up, lifting the great beast from inside. The rest of the heroes watch in surprise as the serpent and Santa fly away. "You know, maybe the weirdest thing I've seen all week," Batgirl says quietly. The elf nods, opening up another portal. He's leading them back to the secret valley. Prancer is fast, but we can arrive sooner. He motions the hero to follow him, and they step through another portal and arrive in Santa's secret valley in Greenland. The heroes are surprised to find Krampus standing before them, fire twirling around him as he stands before a massive ice wall. "Today, we free them all the lost souls damned by claws," Krampus cackles. Batman doesn't hesitate, charging forward, followed by the rest of the heroes. "Take him down!" he shouts. Green Arrow fires a tranq dart, but Krampus easily catches it, and he turns to look at them, and a new voice comes out of his throat. "Mortal children, the Krampus is of the gods, under but still with power." Batman kicks Krampus, throwing the creature off balance, and Black Canary charges in, hitting Krampus with a cry that sends him smashing into the ice wall. Krampus slams into it, and the weakened wall begins to crack. The creature leaps to his feet, grabbing a hold of Miss Martian, swinging her around, slamming her into the other heroes. "None may stop what has begun," the voice calls, and Krampus looks up as Superman and Santa finally arrive. "Stop, Krampus! Don't hurt anyone else!" Santa yells, and Superman charges forward. "I'll get him, Santa!" he shouts. But Santa warns Superman to be careful as something seems off. The Man of Steel moves in a blur, grabbing Krampus from behind, holding him steady. "I guess we're done here. Nice work, everybody," Nightwing calls out, believing that the fight is over. But Santa lands, heading for the glacier, explaining to the heroes that after he locked Krampus away, he stopped using the touchstones and instead trapped the creatures within this glacier. "All were deadly to mortals, but I couldn't bring myself to slay them," he explains. Krampus opens its mouth and the voice speaks again. "They think they win when they lose," he hisses. He looks over his shoulder at Superman, whose eyes begin to glow. "Both take the mighty man, and I remain in the wild one," the voice says when Superman suddenly releases Krampus, an evil smile spreading on his face, and he flies into the air, slamming back down, knocking the other heroes away. "We are here. We have all the power," the new voice says from Superman's mouth, and in the confusion, Krampus charges forward, grabbing Damian. "Krampus takes the naughty children," he says as he opens up a portal and disappears. Meanwhile, Superman flies up, slamming his fist into the glacier, cracking it wide open. "All will be free," he shouts as the ice begins to crumble. Santa motions everyone back. "He's broken open the glacier, move back!" he shouts, and the ice crumbles as the mist clears, and Santa looks up at the great monsters beginning to stomp forward. "Your day of reckoning is here, Claus. The monster kind is loose once more." In Santa's hidden valley in Greenland, the heroes are leaping into battle against the massive monsters that have been released from the collapse of the ice wall, when overhead Superman flies around, his eyes glowing with an unearthly possession. All the banished return for vengeance. Christmas will become another day of darkness. "Not how I saw my holiday going," Black Canary yells before using the canary cry to scatter some of the monsters. Meanwhile, Damian Wayne, now having been kidnapped by Krampus, finds himself in the creature's secret lair, a former gnome hall beneath a tree. Damian looks around from his cage, hearing Krampus talking to a strange voice deeper in the hall. "Why only cage the boy? Do what must be done." But Krampus shakes his head. "No, not kill the child. Krampus only scares. Teach not to be naughty," Krampus says, now of his own facilities. But the voice continues to speak, trying to convince Krampus to do what he must to return the wilds to the world. Meanwhile, the fight is continuing, a massive troll knocking Green Arrow to the ground, but Santa is there, slamming the monster with his fist, driving it back. "Thanks, Big Red. Sorry I always ate the cookies," Oliver says, and Canary and Miss Martian try to fight off Superman, but their powers have little effect on the evil Man of Steel. "Take Claus, he falls, they all fall," Superman says to the monsters down below. Santa rushes to Batman's side, questioning how Superman could have changed so quickly. "Something must have transferred from Krampus when he grabbed him," Batman says, but he motions to the fight ahead of them. "Help the others, I have a contingency." He then turns to Blue Beetle. "Beetle, take down Superman." Hiy is shocked by the order, but rushes into the fight with Superman smiling at him as he rushes at the alien warrior. A bug to crush. But Beetle realizes that Superman doesn't seem to remember all of his powers and weaknesses. "You don't remember that I could generate kryptonite radiation," Hiy shouts, his appendages reaching out, glowing green with kryptonite, grabbing a hold of the Man of Steel. Superman bellows in pain as they both begin to fall out of the sky. "Can I stop? I'm like really hurting him, Batman. Jaime shouts to Batman, but the Dark Knight shakes his head. You have to make that thing leave him. Keep going. Batman shouts back. As Superman plummets to the ground, a strange voice then comes out of his lips. They will kill him to destroy us. We must take a new host. The voices shout. But the heroes watch in horror as strange energy begins to leak out of Superman, taking on almost human features as it begins to evaporate. Cannot see, only darkness. It is oblivion. The voices whisper as they disappear into nothing without a host nearby. Freed from the spirit's will, Superman slams into the ground, but Batman rushes to his side, checking his pulse. Beetle, charge up. He'll need a 2 teravolt burst to restart his heart. Batman shouts, but the heroes turn in shock as a massive Yeti leaps over the mountain, and it blows to create an avalanche that sends a tidal wave of snow crashing down over all of them. Meanwhile, in Krampus' secret lair, Damian is watching as the creature comes towards him with a spear prepared to kill him. Well, I don't agree with this course of action at all, Robin whispers as he realizes that Krampus is possessed by an evil spirit. Make him an ornament for Claus's tree, the spirit whispers, and Krampus nods his head but then looks at the weapon in his hand. But when does Krampus use a spear? Wits are weapons, clever tricks. The spirit drives him onward, pushing him towards the cage, and Damian steps back, his mind racing as he tries to remember the history of Krampus from Santa's visions in Zatanna's book. But that's when Damian has a brilliant idea. He begins to cry, gripping the bars of his cage. I want to go home! I miss my father! He begins to yell, asking his father to forgive him for being bad, and he promises never to do it again. Krampus stares at him in shock, and with shaky hands drops the spear. Meanwhile, over at the avalanche, Nightwing opens his eyes. Can anyone hear me? I think I was out for like a minute. I'm also trapped under like a ton of ice and can't move. Did Superman snap out of it? Is this troll about to step on me? He asks as he hears footsteps crunching through the snow, but a hand reaches out for him, easily pulling him to freedom. Sorry it took us so long, Dick, Diana says with a smile. Nightwing looks to where Joe and Hawkgirl are pulling the others to safety. Rescued from an avalanche? The perfect gift, Dick Grayson says with a smile. As Santa pulls Superman out, the recovered Man of Steel tells him what he saw when he was possessed. He explains that the void that Santa used was a part of the Phantom Zone. Those spirits, who had long been there and lost their forms, had found Krampus and possessed him, and they were attempting to free themselves and all the other creatures that had been lost there. But these spirits had long since lost any memories of their own, and they used Krampus's memories and their own rage. The monsters all seem to have taken off that way, Batgirl points out, pointing to the tracks in the snow. Superman nods, explaining that the creatures mean to destroy his workshop. But I've got a boy to find, Santa says. As the rest of the heroes move to stop the monsters, Santa heads off with the Bat family to find Damian. They step into the nearby woods, where Santa listens to the trees, explaining that they can hear the wishes of others, which is how he always knew what little children wanted. He presses his face against the tree and he listens. He hears Damian. Father, where are you? The Krampus got me. I promise I'll be good. Damian shouting, and Santa nods, looking to Batman. Good lad. He's in the Gnome Hall on the other side of the mountains, Santa says, waving his hand, opening a portal. They step through the portal into the hall, finding Krampus fighting against the spirits as it tries to calm Damian. But Batman leaps forward, kicking the creature. Tie him quick, before he escapes to the zone, Batman shouts, and the rest of the heroes leap to stop Krampus. But Damian rushes into the creature's arms. Krampus, you caught me! Finish the game. Give me to my family and I'll be good, Robin shouts, and Krampus looks at Damian. Boy, is sorry? Krampus whispers. Santa and the others realize that Krampus is winning against the spirit as it begins to be pulled back into the void. No, let me back in, beast, the spirit shouts as it's pulled out of Krampus. But Krampus has returned to his senses. He reaches out, lifting Damian into the air before turning to Batman. Here, Kinderfather! Remember, Krampus is always watching! Krampus giggles with glee. And with this, the spirit completely disappears back into the void, and Krampus is freed. The mischievous Christmas creature looks around in confusion. Where is Krampus? He asks, turning to his old friend and asking Santa if he was lost. Santa looks at him solemnly and puts a hand on his shoulder. You were, old friend, but now you're home, where you belong. Meanwhile, the rest of the heroes have defeated the monsters, though they question what they should do with them. I know a planet where these creatures could fit in just fine, Joe points out, and they all turn as a portal opens and Santa returns with the rest of the family. Joe, that would be perfect. I will not imprison them again, Santa says with a smile. And with the danger defeated, Santa turns to the heroes thanking them, and he turns with emotion in his sleigh in Reindeerland nearby. You all live up to the greatness I saw in your youth. You've saved lives and helped me begin fixing my greatest mistake, Santa says with joy. He turns to Krampus, asking him to once again journey into the night to complete their ancient ritual. This night grew beyond me ages ago, but I can still make a few stops, Santa says as he gets into the sleigh, but Damien steps forward asking why Santa would go out. You started this tradition, it happens anyway, so why still go out? Damien asks, and Batman believes that it's because Santa is driven. Diana thinks it's because he seeks out the hope and goodness of the world, but Superman looks at the old man. You do it for you, because nothing feels better than giving, Superman says. Santa smiles, touching his nose. He's letting Clark know that he's right. Santa then looks down to Robin, asking if the young boy would like to join him on this Christmas Eve, and Damien looks to his father, who smiles. Have fun, son. As the sleigh begins to leave, Santa looks to the heroes and motions to his workshop. He tells them that a meal awaits them inside, and no time will pass while they make merry. Go in together, a few hours of not worrying about the world, he offers them. The sleigh leaps into the sky, and with smiles, the heroes head inside. They eat, they laugh, and they talk to each other. They take a few hours just for themselves, with Barbara raising a glass to Dick. Merry Christmas, Mr. Grayson, she says with a smile. And Happy New Year, Miss Gordon, he says back. And to all, a good night.